Okay, here at Kwoz's Big Board, we're going to do a deep dive into the Philadelphia Eagles big board. We're going to fill this board out, but we're going to do ours based in science and reality. So we'll come up with a very good board, one that we can pitch to Howie together in a consensus. Okay, but what I wanted to talk to you about first is this draft, y'all. This draft. I don't think y'all need me to sell it or pipe it up that we got 15, 16, and 19. That means we come to this table as the big bank in the world's greatest poker game. Ooh, yo, the opportunities that exist there. We'll talk about that. And we're going to talk about Howie and what we expect from Howie from an organizational standpoint as us, the Philadelphia fans. What we expect from HowieRoseman. Right now, he's not signed past this year, and I know that having a draft that knocks it out of the park goes a long way as far as what kind of deal he makes. So we're going to get into a lot of that this episode, but before we even do that, I want to at least talk to you a little bit about me. All right, first of all, I've been doing this for over 15 years now. Go back to 2011, and that's when things really changed for me. You see, I used to call myself a draft geek. And, I would run around telling people all I had to tell them about the draft. And I remember 2011, I was especially excited about the draft and even convinced myself it was an A based on the fact of the positions that we took and where they ranked on Mike Mayock's board. Now, don't get me wrong. This is not an indictment on Mike Mayock. He's a NFL GM. Mike Mayock is he's the bull. Okay, I'm not saying anything bad about Mike Mayock. But what I'm saying is, that year he had Danny Watkins as his number 2 interior offensive lineman. He had Casey Matthews from Oregon as his number 3 inside linebacker. Even though I think Casey Matthews may have had played outside linebacker because I thought that's where he played against Auburn in the championship game against Cam Newton and them. So I'm not even sure if he was in that right position. They also had Jaquan Jarrett from out of Temple as the number 2 strong safety, and then he also had Alex Henry as the nation's best and top in draftable kicker. So we got all those guys. And I'm telling all my homies, like, yo, wait till y'all see this draft class. This is the dream team. This is the dream team. And, whew, that was a doozy of a year, yo. Found out that really none of them could play. None of them. And so Bulls was coming at me like, yo, Kwoz, you had said, like I'm really somebody that you worth listening to. But I deserve that. Because truthfully, all I did was just plagiarize what I seen from somebody else, okay? And from that point, I decided to start doing my own math, my own science. And, and now we all can do the same thing. That's what makes it such a fun hobby. We all can do the same thing because we have the same tools available to us as the NFL scouts do. I mean, we can go back and watch their rivalry games. We can see their conference title games. We can see them in their bowl games. We can see them in their all-star games, even their practices. And then, if that's not enough, we get to see them all compete head-to-head, apples to apples in the combines. So, I mean, I never need a pro day to determine that shit. My board is always done before we even get to the combines. The only thing we don't have access to, and if we try really hard, we probably could find it. You could just at least do the math yourself. Is we don't have their medicals, we don't have their drug tests, and we don't have their psych evals. Okay, but guess what? We draft geeks, draft nerds, armchair GMs, we don't need that. We ain't hiring nobody. All we doing is looking at athletes, right? We just want to see purely what athletes fit with what teams at what rounds. That's all we look at. So if you was coming here thinking that we're going to be talking about medicals and Wonderlic scores and all that shit, then you at the wrong spot. We're just going to be looking specifically for needs. Philadelphia Eagles is owned by Jeffrey Lurie, which I will refer to him now, furthermore, as Mr. Lurie. He's probably the most incredible owner who's been around here since Mr. Snyder. This spring, he's going to be sending his proxy to the world's greatest poker game. Who's our representative is HowieRoseman. Let's talk about Howie a little bit. Howie, to me, is let's say he's a hedge fund guy who has a CPA, who's a corporate attorney, who happens to have a mean game in poker. Howie, for all his shortcomings in the draft, he does have some incredible abilities, and a lot of that stemmed from the fact that he was the understudy to Joe Banner. Now, what was for about Joe? Not only the fact that Cleveland fired him after he accumulated 12 picks, and he wanted to help make some of the picks. They said, "Get your ass up out of here." And Joe like, "Yo, I just got y'all 12 picks." Not only that, Joe Banner was instrumental in help developing this value chart, pick value chart. I don't even actually know the real name of it. I always go grab it off of Walterscharts.com. But what it does is it keeps the trades to be somewhat competitive where they enrich both sides. Since then, there's been things put into place, that there's value charts that people put in place. How we learned that specifically from Joe Banner, and he's gained different abilities. He has maneuverability. Howie can move up and down the draft board anywhere he wants. I mean, he can go from 12 to 2. He can go from the end of the first round back into the second and back in front of whoever he wants to go to. I mean, he's shown it year after year that he does the most moves. Another ability Howie possesses is accountability. And I ain't just talking about his radio show that he used to have on WIP, where he would stand in front of his sins and talk to the fans, which I used to call him roast his ass. He stand in front of people and answer to his sins. He's being accountable as a GM. He's the only GM in America doing anything like that. I'm not talking about that kind of accountability. I'm talking about the CPA end. We ain't never run around talking about, we're going to be in cap hell for year after year after year, like San Fran was when they had won those championships and it was in cap hell for years and years and years. We ain't never had to worry about that with HowieRoseman because he's an accountant. He's accountable. We good there. And these are important traits when it comes to diving into being a GM. These are all important. Where he falls short at is in the draft. Now let's look at where I say that I actually outdraft the Philadelphia Eagles. Hey Kai, do me a favor, pull up my tweet from last year. Okay, all right, you see it there. Now, you see the first three with the green checks. That means they were available. Red checks mean that they weren't. Three guys that I really, really like went early. It's really not my fault. We did not have the combines last year to really sort them out. But if anything you could tell is that I like really, really good players. Spencer Brown is a beast over there in Buffalo. He's a beast. Tyson Campbell is up and down over there for the Chargers. But Ellison Smith ain't do nothing. He ain't do nothing with the Giants. But let's look. We look at. I would give both of us an A for Devontae Smith. We both had him, and then I had Asante Samuels in the second. Asante Samuels, he missed 5 games this year due to injury, but he had 33 solos and 2 picks, pretty decent production. And then there was Quinn Miners. We'll get back to him. HowieRoseman and them took Landon Dickerson, who was a good pick. I mean, so far they got 2 starters too. I have 2 starters too. Now the third pick, I had Quinn Miners in the third for our interior offensive lineman, and HowieRoseman and them went with Milton Williams. So they went off script. They didn't even get the cornerback at all. They went off script. And Milton Williams, he played in all 16 games, and he had 15 solos and 2 sacks. So based on just production in the first year, I have to give myself an A and give them a B. But you say, well, what about Quinn Miners? I mean, like, how do we know? Do we really look at offensive linemen and what they do throughout the year? Well, hey, Kai, do me a favor. Play that one little video on Quinn Miners. I think he did, in my opinion, is probably the best block of the year. And there were others, and this is just the one that just went viral. Go ahead and play it, Kai. See what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, so I get an A. That's the kind of players I be selecting. How we need to be listening sometimes, and sometimes you're like, oh, okay. So, all right, here's the thing, y'all. All right, when we hear the draft bells and the draft chimes, that means Kwoz, shut the fuck up and either shit or get off the pot. And so I got to go ahead and put it in. So for this year, organizational goals for HowieRoseman, I would say is, hey, I need a minimum of 3 defensive All-Americans. 3. You can do that. You got 3 number ones. Figure it out. You get me 3 of them. Okay. And then what I would like to personally challenge Howie to do is go for what me and the fellas call the golden tux. Yeah, golden tux. I know you heard about it. It's not even in the pamphlet. You heard about it because nobody actually can pull it off. I mean, who pulls off the golden tux? Well, we asking Howie to do it this year. And what that means is, Howie, I want you to take those first 3 draft picks, and I will need you to flip them into 3 number ones and 3 number twos. Yeah, the golden tux. So now we're talking about 6 athletes in the first 2 rounds, 7 in the top 100. Now let's draft. Now let's have a party. You know what I'm saying? Trust me, when you come to Kwoz Big Boy, we will not be talking about giving up no 3 picks for 1 quarterback. Trust me, we ain't doing that. I ain't wasting my time with that shit. We're going to have some fun. So season 1, episode 1 is in the book.